Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are watching this recording. My name is David Cohen, and with me, I pointed the right way for a change. With me is Don, who's just one of the people in our Academy 55 group who has passed their getting some real money with their Prop Firm Challenge now. They're taking a live account, and we just want to delve into and ask Don a few. Not too personal, but a few questions to ask him what sort of person he is. So therefore, if it resonates with you, hopefully I might be interviewing you yet next, should I say. Anyway, so good afternoon, Don.
Hi, David.
And Don is in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
I
Yeah.
am indeed just across the
And
water.
so, sorry, what was that your job?
Sorry?
Did you say your job?
No, I'm saying I'm just across the water from you.
Oh, just across the water. I thought you said a transporter. Sorry. Old age. Yeah, so that was one of the questions actually, Don. Do you have a job and what sort of
What do I
industry are
do?
you in?
Yeah, I'm a taxi driver.
A taxi
It's one of
driver, okay. Have
yeah,
you
yeah.
been a taxi
No,
driver for long?
only for 6 years. I had my own businesses for 28 years.
Oh, okay. Well, would you describe yourself? What sort of person would you describe yourself? Would you be like a analytical sort of person? What sort of person would you describe yourself as? Really?
Yeah, I do like to analyze quite a bit of especially the charts there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would be analytical. Yeah.
Yeah, because the last person I talked to, he was a radiotherapist working for the
Oh,
NHS, and obviously they've got to be analytical to.
of course.
But as a taxi
I
driver, have you had any famous people in the back of your cab?
I have.
Uh-huh. Can you name
Um,
them?
but they've gone right. The names have gone right out of my mind now.
Oh,
But
you have to join the club,
there's
mate. Join the club.
yeah, I know, David. It's horrendous. I've had Disney stars in the car. I've had obviously, Game of Thrones was filmed here.
Oh yeah, of
I've
course.
had a lot of the crew of Game of Thrones in the car, and there was one guy quite recently who was quite famous. He's been in Batman movies. He's been in all sorts of movies,
Oh, nice.
and I can't remember his name. I'm not a big TV watcher, to be honest. So they get into my car and I don't know who they are until they get out of the car. We've had the conversation, then I Google them and find out who they are.
But and some people would respect that as well, being because they're asked by paparazzi different questions. So it must
Yeah,
be nice and relaxing for them to get back in the back of your cab and not be bothered with personal in-depth questions, I guess. But
of
sorry,
course.
we'll delving away from the matter in hand, but never mind.
Yeah.
So that's why God invented an edit button. Anyway, so trading wise. How long have you been trading, would you say?
I have been trading on and off for, I'm going to say 5 years.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's been quite a bit. Never successful.
Never
I've had
successful.
that, yeah. I had that sort of gambler's fallacy sort of thing,
Yeah.
where no risk management, just jumping in with 2 feet. And I've blown so many live accounts. Now, not challenges because it's always been private accounts with brokers, and I've blown them all.
Mm,
And it's just, yeah, uh, that's I've learned so much from joining Academy 55,
mm.
which has brought me to where I am now.
Yeah. Do you find it sort of gives you a more of a grounding, gives you what I try and
Yeah.
do is as well as a strategy, I incorporate little targets to go for every day because
Hmm.
90% of trading is about your mindset. And when I first
It is.
started trading, I was not an out and out gambler, but I was very gung ho sort of thing, and
Yeah.
I used to do things to prove I was right. So if a price was to go up to the pip because I put a certain tool on it to make me, I used to be really pleased about that. But at the end of the day, I used to do that and do that and do that and not have a target to go for. And ultimately, just like gambling generally, it's a bit like yo-yo money. You're going to give it all back to
You go.
banks or the brokers or whatever, you know. So
Yeah,
therefore,
exactly
that's
what
why
I found.
we have these targets in to sort of live by. That's our sort of Bible. Because at the end of the day, we are here to make money and not to prove you're right and not to reduce. Because when you win, you reduce you get endorphins and give you a little bit of an adrenaline rush. And but that's all well and good, but it's not money in the bank, you know.
No, no.
So
Yeah, yeah.
so
But
tell me, yeah, carry on.
it's it's what I like about yourself and Academy 55. It's your patience is just unbelievable.
Well, it's most of it is down to the experience of being a trader for 9 years now,
Yeah.
and gone through so many different scenarios, back tested the hell out of the EUR USD and the US 100 with the Academy 55 strategy. Know what price is capable of doing, why price, and I have a little. If you notice on my lives, I think out loud and I say what I think might price be doing and why might
Hmm.
it just do that. And if I have that idea in my head, why price is doing with my experience, it's not so much of a shock if price goes ahead and does exactly what I thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
So therefore, patience. You know, sometimes you get a bit of a retracement, and then if you've got a strong belief that patience is going the way you wanted to go, then you'll be patient to wait for the retrace and then hit the button either a bit earlier or wait for it to get to 2%. But ultimately, what we try and do here on Academy 55 is get people to losing 1% or gaining a 2% and getting them the same mindset as if to say, well, I lost 1%. I don't want people biting the fingernails for quick and then
Uh-huh.
carry on trading and lose all their discipline. So
Yeah.
we want them to treat 1% loss and a 2% gain in the same sort of manner. But at the end of the day, we're all human, and
Yeah.
so that's how we wish to carry on, really.
Yeah. I mean, looking back on your journal, I mean, it proves everything that Academy 55 was supposed to do and is supposed to do. You know, you can come in there and have maybe three losing days, but ultimately the long term, the when you sit back and you look at it over the month, you may have had three losing days, you may be down 3%, but ultimately you've almost every month you've achieved your target.
Mm. Well, I think we have every month, even on the really bad month, we had a bad month in April where
Yeah,
we were going through end of business years and stuff like that, and the markets went really against me for 2 weeks, first 2 weeks. Even then, I think we either drew even or drew a small profit. But other than that, we do a 10 to 12% a month, and then
yeah. And
regardless,
that's all you need. That's all you need, David.
indeed, indeed, and the whole idea of Academy 55 is for it to be intensive for, well, not even intensive really, but for an hour, commit an hour looking at the charts
Hmm.
a day or 4 days a week, because generally miss Mondays, but 4 days a week, and then appreciate it is what it is. You either get the trade or you don't. Um, and we do that so that you don't over stimulate yourself and look for other things. Um, some traders, some traders who came into Academy 55 before they were trading before using other strategies, they they would have a head start with it on us a little bit for their thinking, but it also holds them back because they'll be looking at other things. Oh, somebody told me if the price does a certain thing and not to go there, but the
Yeah,
Academy 55 strategy is saying go there. I want people to have faith in the Academy 55 strategy and realize that if it works, if it doesn't work in on one trade, possibly the wrong time of day for that pair, whatever it may be, to not work with the Academy 55. Maybe the volume, maybe the volatility is too volatile. Maybe there's not enough volume. Or maybe, but as you know, if anybody's looked at our journal, 70% of the time, generally, we have a 70% win rate. But that means to say 30% of the time, it doesn't work. So if you
Yeah.
can pick the times when you've got consolidation going on, don't trade in those times. When you've got volatility, too much volatility, don't trade in those times. Learn to come back at a later time of the day. And we have now got Academy 55 zones that are working really, really well. I gather you use the zones. Would you like to say a few words about the
Yeah.
zones?
So originally I joined Academy 55 back in February when you guys first launched it at the end of January. And I came in, as you say, with a bit of knowledge, but I had studied ICT a little bit, and the silver bullet strategy. And it was conflicting with what you guys were telling me. And I was like all over the place with the trading. And I kept failing the challenges. April came along, and as you say, it was a particularly bad month, and then I left Academy 55 to go and look at other shiny objects. That did not work. That did not work. In July, I messaged Steve and I said, "Well, how things going?" He said, "Oh, they're going really well." So I decided to come back on board. And at that stage, you guys had the zones. And just really in the last month, I've seen how powerful those zones are. Now, I won't trade now without
It's that
the
extra little bit of
without the zones.
confirmation. It's that
Yeah,
extra confirmation that makes all the difference
yeah,
because the zones themselves are essentially order blocks. And if you know how the way the banks work, they have certain sell orders and buy orders or wherever the
yeah,
zone is, and they know if they're going through a lean spell and they know they got X million pounds worth of stop losses in a zone, which is indeed an order, a sell stop loss is an order in effect,
yeah,
and they know they got X amount of, and they don't have to drag price to a certain area right away. What they'll do is that they will go down and get those stop losses, get all the equity for themselves, thank you very much, and then go the way they were going to go all along. And
yeah,
if you realize that as a trader or whatever, you will then know that how it works and then act accordingly, shall we say.
yeah, yeah. So the zones have been. I have passed that challenge and the verification stage because of those zones. And yeah, you may have to wait longer for a trade because when you as you know when you join the charts or when you join a live session, it price may be in between two zones and you may have to wait half an hour, 40 minutes on price getting back into those zones. But ultimately, I would say 90% of the time that I've been trading out of a zone, it's been successful.
So if you, with your little bit of experience you got now as a trader, what would you say to somebody who hasn't traded before? How long, in your opinion, do you think it would take somebody to get enough experience together to do what you've done? How many weeks or months or maybe even years would you say
What I would say,
following the Academy 55 strategy?
yeah, what I would say to them is, the plans laid out in Academy 55. Stay away from other things. Don't go onto YouTube looking at the next guru who's showing you this strategy, that strategy, because that's total conflicts with what Academy 55 is showing you. I've proven now that Academy 55, if you stick to the rules, if you learn the patience that you teach us, you can be successful with Academy 55. Give yourself 6 months. Remember it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint.
I line it to like an apprenticeship in the real world.
Yeah,
You wouldn't go and start to learn to be a plumber and expect to fix all the pipes after a month.
yeah,
You've got to do your due diligence. You've got to get down there. learn how to weld. I don't know whether they weld now because of plastic pipes and all that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect to be a fully qualified plumber within a month. Same with
No.
this. This is what we call skill for life. Basically, this is a skill for
Yeah.
life, and you need to think. You need to be very very realistic and think to yourself, well, you're not going to learn a skill for life if it's very very important to you. If you have a big enough why you're doing these things, you're going to get there. So
You will.
I want to ask you what your why is, Don.
My why is my 5-year-old daughter standing looking at me, wondering what I'm doing, talking to a computer screen. Uh, you know, yeah, that's it. I want to give her a better life. I know I have two sons who are growing up. They're 19, 21, both away to university, living their best life. And I've got the 5-year-old daughter now, and I want to give her the best life now. As a taxi driver, you can make a decent income, but it's not going to give you the extra pleasures in life.
So
You know,
basically, you want to leave a legacy.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
a legacy. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and that's a lot of people is a big deal, especially people of a certain age. Yeah, so you get thinking a bit about legacies at the time. So I'm running out of questions. Is there any questions you could think of I should have asked that I didn't ask, really?
no, David, I
I'm
think
doing you.
there,
I'm getting you to do my job for me.
yeah, I think that, David, judging, I know you're not in our WhatsApp group there, but judging from some of the questions that I see popping in there, maybe you could do a wee session with the guys on fully understanding the zones. A lot of them are not understanding the zones. When does a zone become invalid? When does a buy or sell signal become invalid? Maybe we could do a wee session on that just to help those guys out. I totally understand it. I swap them for so I open my trading view, but I open up a 5-minute chart on one window and a 1-minute chart on the other window.
Hmm.
So I can see both the 5-minute zones. Well, to be honest, what I do on the 5-minute chart, I will box off or put a rectangle on the zones. So when you look at the 1-minute zone or the 1-minute time frame, sorry, you will see where the 5-minute zones are. So and I can see when they become invalid, when the buy and sell. Once you get used to it, you can't not see it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think some
indeed.
of the guys are struggling to fully understand that.
Yes, and interesting you said that because Steve, my business partner, he gave me a question this morning. Somebody asked him exactly that. When was the zone invalid? And I did reply, and I am actually considering making a short video to say that. But me, because I've been trading so long, sometimes in my own mind, I think, well, that is so obvious, I don't need to explain it. But you're
Yeah.
saying that I do, so I will.
Yeah. Yeah, just on behalf, I'm just saying it on behalf of some of the guys because I
Yeah,
see the question comes up quite a bit in our WhatsApp group, and I know how to explain it, but I think it's better coming from you.
of course. So finally, just to because I understand you've got to take your daughter to dance class very very
Yes, I
soon,
believe in
uh,
5 minutes.
in 5 minutes. So just for a minute, would you just a fair minute, just say who you are, how you passed your live session, and mention a bit about Academy 55. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm Don. I've chatted to a few of you on the group. Uh, I came back to Academy 55 in July. Thoroughly enjoy the live sessions and the education that David gives to us. Patience is to me, along with the risk management, is key. It was key to me passing the FTMO challenge, and I have blown a lot of FTMO challenges, just gung ho in it, as to use that term, in the past. But the zones, the patience, and the correct risk management is key. And Academy 55 provides all that for you. It provides the impatience training on our lives with you, David. And I know somebody had said this morning that sometimes they get impatient with you whenever they're shouting at the screen, close the trade, close the trade, close the trade. Ultimately, you've been trading for the 9 years. You're the expert here, and a lot of the guys, although we don't copy you, we tend to we value the education that we're getting from you.
I'm glad you said that
Academy
because
55.
I'm glad you said that because as I always say, when I do live trading, I don't do it so you can copy me. I do it for educational purposes only.
Yeah,
But I do appreciate. I'd be silly to realize that people don't copy what I do.
yeah,
So everything I do, like you said, is journaled. It's
yeah.
recorded, so you can go back and see the recordings. Go trading in the goldfish bowl. So the
Exactly.
final
And
few
and
words to
that's
you, sir.
and that's the beauty about Academy 55. In the back office, everything is recorded. You've all your training to go back and refresh yourself as often as you want. You've all your winning trades, you've all your losing trades, you've all your stats, your journals there. You can go back and look from January right through. You can see what there's. I don't think there's anything more you could add to that, David, to make it a better system. There's not.
That's where we'll leave it
It's a
there. Thanks
backup
very much
system.
for saying that, Don.
Yeah.
Very nice words. So you yourself, do you have a journal?
I have a journal. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I update it, sometimes I don't. Um, it can be a little chaos in the morning here, getting things ready for school, getting the lunch made.
Sure.
And also I gotta take my wife to work in the mornings because I work in the evenings. So my wife works during the day.
Hmm.
So it can be a little chaos. So I'm listening to you, and sometimes I'll go off and I'll leave the live trade running and I'm doing other things, which is what you say anyway. If the trade's running, go away, do other things. Yeah.
Hmm.
And just your fact about not copying you this morning was an example. I had actually entered a trade before you'd pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Um, so I wasn't copying you. I got in before you and I got out at 1.7%, whereas you got
Well,
out at 1%.
the main reason I say that, Don, is because I'm not allowed to give financial advice. No way would I
Absolutely.
give financial advice. So therefore, I'm just teaching people what I do. Like we all say, I'll do me, you do you. And if you want to pull the trigger earlier, you're a big boy. Everybody's adults around here. They can do what they want. But the whole idea is
Yeah.
to see how I would handle it and sort of maybe bring their experience levels down a little bit by
Uh-huh.
seeing how I do it and why I wouldn't do certain things and why I would do certain things, you know. So
Well, it's just, you know what? Academy 55 is you're our mentor, and that's the way it is. And
mhm.
you get an education from your mentor. Everyone should have a mentor.
Indeed. And on that note, thank you very much for your time today, Don. I
Yeah.
do appreciate what you do, and I'm looking forward to seeing you like inviting us all around for a party when you when you hit the big time with your live account.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
good,
but
good talk.
but do keep, for your sake, I'm sure you will, but do keep your discipline going. Just because you pass the live now, a lot of people have a bit of a blowout and they forget a little bit because they've done the big
Yeah,
thing, they passed the challenge, then they get to splurge. But
yeah.
we're in it for the long haul. So
Just,
keep
just on that note, David, I'm going to reduce my risk. Now that I'm on a live account, and it's real money, I'm going to reduce my risk.
Mhm.
Still keeping it 2 to 1, but I'm going to go with 0.5% risk for 1% gain, and aim to 2.5% a week is my goal, my target.
Nice one. Nice one.
Yeah.
So that on that then, Don, we will say goodbye. Thanks very much for your time
Great.
today. Do
Thanks,
appreciate it.
David.
Have a
Yeah.
great day and look forward to
Catch you later.
seeing more success from yourself and other people in the group in the future.
Yeah.
So
Cheers, David. Thank
all
you.
the best, Don. Cheers for
Bye-bye.
now.
Bye.
Bye.